come to the bold analysis. Why is the president converting a very monumental and highly guarded infrastructure called Statehouse? And the president is opening the doors of Statehouse for everyone, despite the fact that security agencies are warning that what we are doing in the altar of politics might actually have a more damaging effect on the institution called State House. Remember, State House is not a private property. It's not private property where you wake up and say, I'm going to put up a church there. You wake up and say, I'm going to put up a pavilion there. And in my pavilion, I'm going to invite so and so and so and so. There is really guidelines on the status of institution called State House. And in this podcast, we are going to interrogate the use of public resources by the president to play politics. And we are going to look at it in the context, and I'm going to show you ugly scenes of the Kisii and Nyamira grassroots leaders who met the president in State House. And this podcast has I've really had a very good input from security experts and people who are really former retired NIS guys and people who really believe, some two gentlemen who are we really had a bit of discussion. Kevin, you guys need to talk about this, and I want to urge you to listen to this podcast to the end. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, and like our videos, and thank you very much for supporting this podcast. We do this each and every day because of your support. Subscription is absolutely free. The advantage here is when you subscribe to a channel, whenever we publish our videos, you'll be getting notifications. And by that tomorrow, I'll produce one video tukiwa huko chini. Going to give a different scene of it. We're just rushing in the south coast. Let me say this. One day, the State House is meeting border people. Another day, it is some church leaders. Another day, it is women groups. Another day, it is grassroots leaders mobilized from the villages down there. And at the same time, this institution called State House is also inviting diplomats, security, and high-profile leaders in State House. I know it is not a new thing. When William Samoei Arap Ruto was a deputy president, despite of the outcry from the media and the civil society and political players, William Ruto converted the current residence into a campaign theater. So by that time, people complained. Some people even tried going to parliament to pass some legislation against it. But it was riddled, and people said, we were told, you guys are fighting the deputy president. And the deputy president used a victim card to silence his critics who were asking, come on, why are you using state resources to run politics? It didn't stop there. People are blinded. They voted in the president. And before they know, the same thing that used to happen in Karen is happening in State House. Is it fair? Is it in order? I remember when a story came that a church was being built in State House, people asked, come on, this is not your private property. This is a public property. This is a public land. After you leave someone, there will be a new occupant in that house will also leave after some time. But the president keeps on doing this. And today, I want us to look, for example, the meeting of Gusii leaders that happened there. And it was a meeting bringing together some youth leaders from Kisii and Nyamira. It was their term. it was their turn to receive a dose of lecture of lies.
Okay, naomba mnisaidie, maisha yangu iko hatarini. Juu nilisema sikupata pikipiki.
Dickens Kamau Odhiambo almaarufu Kamau wa Kisumu anadai maisha yake yamo hatarini.
Wanataka kuniua juu ya ukweli yangu.
Kisa na maana ni video hii iliyosambaa mtandaoni.
Hiyo gate ukitoka hivi, Yesu ende nyumbani.
Alipozungumzia hadharani katika eneo la Jacaranda mtaani Kayole, akidai alihadaiwa na hakupata pikipiki katika hafla ya kuwainua vijana iliyoandaliwa katika ikulu ya rais.
Tulitafutwa na Karen Nyamu. So venye kufika Statehouse, wakaangalia jina yangu kwa system, jina yangu ilikuwa kila kitu. After kuangalia jina yangu tukaingia. Kuingia nikakula, sisi kataa.
Odhiambo ni mmoja wa maelfu ya vijana waliohudhuria hafla iliyoongozwa na Rais William Ruto, ambapo vijana walipewa vifaa mbalimbali ikiwemo pikipiki. Anasema alipigwa picha akiwa na pikipiki, kisha
nikaambiwa sasa ushapigwa picha, toka tu hapo nje tukuletee pikipiki yako.
Alipojaribu kuwauliza walinzi hao jinsi atakavyoipata pikipiki yake, kitendawili kikaanza.
Nikauliza huyu askari, unajua mali naishi? Trukola itatoa. Nauliza askari Trukola.
Sasa anadai kwamba baada ya video hiyo kusambaa, anahofia maisha yake.
Napigiwa na private number nichague vitu ngapi kwa maisha yangu, vitu 3. Niseme nilipewa kijana, tengeneza hiyo content, nisema ulipewa pikipiki.
Collins,
wale vijana ambao walimaliza form 4 na hawana kosi yeyote wamefanya. Either umemaliza form 4 ama ulimaliza form 2 ama hata ulifika standard 8 ukakwama, pia lazima tukutafutie nafasi. Si ndio? Kwa sababu ni watoto wetu. Ama namna gani jameni? Si ni watoto wetu? So, sikizeni tena. We have another program ambaye tumepanga, inaendelea saa hizi nikiongea na nyinyi. Tena urudi hapo kwa *254# ujiandikishe. Hiyo program tunatafuta vijana 90,000 vijana 60 kutoka kila ward, ili tuwapatie training for 1 year paid for by the government of Kenya. Hautalipa chochote. Na mbali ya kukosa kulipa chochote, pia tutakupatia 6,000 kila mwezi ya kwenda nyumbani na kurudi, kulipa nini hapo, kuhangaika hapo kidogo kidogo. Lakini uwe unafanyiwa training. We must have a deliberate plan ya kushughulikia hawa vijana wetu. Wasikuje wakapotoshwa na wanasiasa ambao hawana mpango. Kwa sababu pengine Jomo anaweza kusema alikuwa mzee. Si ndio? Alipata uongozi akiwa na miaka 70 na kitu. Si anaweza kusema alikuwa mzee? Akaponyoka na hapo. Mimi si mzee. So I cannot have that excuse. Si ndio? Wale wengine wanaweza kusema pia pengine hawakuwa na masomo ya kutosha. Mimi niko na PhD. Mimi nimesoma vizuri. Kwa hivyo I have no excuse ya kukosa kufanya hii kazi.
Yes. Why am I saying? I still say and repeat this. William Ruto will talk about figures and facts and everything. But I don't get it. As in, why must you spend hours? Why must you spend taxpayers' money? Pay people. Let me tell you. And this one, if you want to challenge me, I can tell you. Jana usiku, I received a call at around 9. One of our subscribers, the sister is married in Mugirango. I understand in Mugirango, actually, Matengi comes from South Mugirango. So in Kisii, the South Mugirango is in Kisii, then the North, I think, and the West Mugirango are in Nyamira. So ordinarily, Matengi was born in South Mugirango, but the father and the family settled in Nyamira, and so Nyamira owns him. So people think actually Matengi comes from Nyamira, but Matengi comes from South Mugirango, where Osoro comes from. So Osoro's team were mobilizing, and they were actually promising those women that watawapatia 50,000, and they were using school buses. And you know what happens? Most of these school buses were actually bought by the MP under the bursary, under the CDF kitty. So MPs always misuse them. So these people were ferried last night to come to State House. Look at all that money. Ili walipwe. And then when they arrive there, the messaging is about what we have done, what we have done, what they have done. Instead of spending money, inviting some 100 people there, 50 people there, 30 people here, then why don't you just go to KBC and pay airtime? You don't even need to pay. KBC is national government broadcaster. And announce to the country what you are doing. If it is about Nyota, how it should be done. Go even pay for billboards so that people get. Why must it be the president doing the talking? That this program of Nyota, some of these things the president is talking about, they are ministers. One is he is the only one who knows about this project, that the ministers cannot talk about them. Not even a principal secretary, not even a PS, a permanent secretary, can talk about them. Not even the area chief. It has to take the president to ferry people to come to State House to talk about it. And Kisii, and I understand there were some very interesting scenes here, reports. Comedians from the Gusii urban music icon attended the Ruto State House. You can see here, they mobilized so that they say they lead anti-Matiang'i chants or anti-Matiang'i skits in State House. And that was to tell you, as you can look here, the meeting was actually about no Matiang'i. We don't want Matiang'i. It was just to counter Matiang'i. So, and this is the problem. If you look at some of the photos here, you will see people now the two-term, using the two-term photos taken of people showing the two-term. Ile wanaweka ile time wanaambiwa waseme two-term, semeni two-term, alafu picha photos are taken. Two-term photos are taken, then those photos are splashed in the social media pages of the president, and then people are supposed to comment that look here, Rais anapendwa. While in real terms, people have been paid. I remember the question by Macarena. Macarena was asking, Kindiki is going to Tharaka Nithi, is paying people. Kindiki today was in Baringo, he's paying people to attend. Then surely, are you guys really loved, or you guys are buying loyalty? I agree with someone who is saying, Ruto is throwing money at anything. Wewe mtoto wako amepigwa risasi, wewe chukua 2 million, wacha nikujengee. O wewe unasema shida yako ni una complain serikali nini, wewe chukua 1 million, wewe enda. You know, and it's a very plastic one. In Kisii, things have been hot, and this is why this meeting was called. Machogu was clashing with the Hills Jehanda. It was saying that look here, wheelbarrow imetoboka.
Niwaambie vile imefanyika wheelbarrow siku hizi. Wheelbarrow imetoboka. Wheelbarrow imekuwa scrap. Wakati tulikuwa tunafanya kampeni tukasema pesa mfukoni, tukasema bottom up. Nebe satoko rushia serikali tubaletere. Sire ni kutabikia wananchi jameni. Tunaenda kutoa pesa ya serikali, tunaletea wananchi kwamba ni economic empowerment, lakini hakuna kitu kama hiyo.
Huyu mheshimiwa Martha Karua, mahali yako, ile wimbo tunaimba, ile fikira ako nayo, na mimi niko hapo. Harambee! Harambee!
Mtoto yako mdogo na ni kama ndugu yako mdogo, wewe ni heshimu, mimi ni kiongozi, hata kama mimi ni kijana, mimi ni mzazi kama vile wewe ni mzazi. Na huwezi kutuambia ati sijui ati wheelbarrow imepata pancha na watu watoke kwa William Ruto, na wewe mwenyewe mtoto yako ako jikoni ya William Ruto anafanya kazi huko State House. Toa kijana yako kutoka State House umulete hapa, ndio tutajua wewe ni unasema ukweli. Si ndio? Huwezi kuja kuambia watu wa Kisii ati William Ruto ni mbaya na mtoto yako ako jikoni ya William Ruto. Ambia kijana atoke huko akuje hapa, tuchukue kijana moja kutoka hapa Kiogoro tumpeleke na yeye afanye kazi State House. Si ndio? Hiyo siasa yao ya 1925 ya madio na madisi wasituletee hapa. Hapa Nyaribari tuko sisi tumejipanga. Anasema ati atanirudisha nyumbani. Kwani yeye ndo alinipatia kura? Alinipatia kura. Waambie huyo mzee saa hii ni mchana, aende alale, ni kama usingizi umemshika. Na kama amekunywa busaa, apumzike aende nyumbani alale. Akiamuka vizuri, akuja tuongeleshe. Na mimi ni kiongozi ambaye nimechaguliwa na nyinyi wananchi.
Machogu was the former education CS who was sacked, and then Bigambo Javas was Migos was given that seat. I don't agree with that MP that because Machogu's son works in State House and the father doesn't agree, so the son should leave. No. State House is not a public property. It's not a private property. It's not a private business of the president. You know, it's cool that my son can work in State House while me I don't agree. Because if anything, all of us are paying taxes, plus Machogu himself, plus everyone is paying taxes. And those taxes are not skewed to who they should work. It is not, working in State House should not mean that you have to agree with the president. Even in these companies, in Safaricom. Do you want to tell me all workers of Safaricom have one line of thinking? No. And that is how life should be. Now, I want you to attend and remember, I've not lost my footing on inviting people, opening doors to State House. And I'm not saying the president should not meet people in State House. But what we are saying, and this is a question, the matter here is, this is a highly protected structure. You've lowered its dignity. You've even changed, like this is a national asset. It's a national infrastructure. Umeenda ukachange. Kidogo kidogo umejenga pavilion. You're opening doors to people, just everyone. And if they were going there for something tangible, unaweza elewa. But here, the other day there was a show. Yeah, some boda people were taken there. One of my good relatives got even those motorbikes. By the way, it is, some people are given those motorbikes. Even though those motorbikes, there are problems, but they were given those motorbikes. So, you're just opening it. Everyone. Still in Kisii, I want you to look who attended, because there is something interesting I want you to see. From Nyamira County, Stephen Mogaka, West Mugirango MP was present. Jeresha Momanyi, Nyamira Women Representative. This one is not going back. I can bet. I've seen the way she talks. This one really doubtful. Irene Mayaka, nominated MP, and CAN Speaker Thaddeus Nyabaro. Kisii County was Silvanus Osoro, South Mugirango, Zahir Jehanda, Nyaribari Chache, Japheth Nyakikundi, Kitutu Chache, North, Doris Donya, Kisii, the women rep, Esther Okenyuri, our friend Esther Okenyuri, nominated senator, and Alpha Miruka, Bomachoge Chache MP. And then there are two others, Javas Migambo, CS Education, and Ambassador Joash Maangi. Here is where I have a problem. Come on. You want to campaign in Nairobi. You have to recall an ambassador, Joash Maangi is Kenyan ambassador in Uganda, to come and attend, because the ambassador comes from Kisii, and you need to show Kisii people that you've given one of their sons a job. Come on. We can do better. I like saying it, and I would want to use it in this context. We can do better. Yani, we were campaigning mpaka unaita ambassador. Likelihood by the time we'll be campaigning ambassadors, if ambassador is from, if there is an ambassador from your village and the president is meeting people from your village, that ambassador has to come, suspend his duties in Uganda so that he comes here. I think and that is showing how we are misusing public resources and public offices. Ambassador should be working for the country in Uganda, has to be recalled to attend a meeting in State House so that you can appease the Kisii that I have one of them. An absentee was Simbari. Simbari yesterday, yesterday he was absent in State House, but yesterday he was seen with MPs Japhet Nyakundi and Alpha Miruka and Silvanus Sosoro at the Bunge Towers. I understand there have been threats of impeachment against Arati, quite from the UDA side, that if he doesn't join, probably will face some days. But this is what I understand. Arati is a secret member of Sifuna camp.
Najua shida yako Sifuna. Wewe unaona watu wamekaa kwa kula chakula, wameka sahani ya mchele. Wewe kijana mdogo unataka kunywa ndani. Wewe bwana wacha watu wakule kidogo. Unapiga wewe, wale ambao wanakula wanaweza piga wewe. Ama wanadai. Kwa hivyo ukiongea hata wale kwa kuongea ndio asikia harufu. Ama naongea. Kwa sababu sasa ingawa naona kwamba Sifuna anaweza kujolea chakula ile anafanya nini? Wanakula. Kwa hivyo ndugu yangu sisi tuko pamoja.
Why am I saying that? Do you remember recently when the Sifuna and Arati attended the burial of Arati's sister in Kajiado? Yes, Sifuna attended that burial in his capacity as the ODM Secretary General. But if you're keen, did you just realize that there's Judith Pareno, who was also a former UDA, former ODM head of elections, and was not there? Or Arati invited Sifuna personally to that event. And I want you to imagine, Arati is the deputy party leader of, there are two deputy party leaders, three. You have Arati, you have the one in Mombasa, Abdul Swamad, and then you have Godfrey Osotsi. And his sister was being buried in Kajiado, and Raila did not attend. Arati, the report we got is that Arati invited Sifuna personally to that meeting. So, and I was just showing you how I was giving you the list of those who are attending and all that to see how state officers like a CS should not attend that meeting. There is nothing about education. There is no policy about education that is there. And remember, he doesn't even talk. And if a CS is to talk, for example, Mbadi is to talk, Mbadi can only talk about Kikuyu and Luo. Some very pathetic and backward politics. Now, why would Ruto even invite ambassador in Nairobi just for this? And at this point, there are three reasons why it is a big mistake for the misuse of the State House pavilion and the State House as an institution to play politics. It's wrong. Even this inviting ambassador, it's a misuse of the State House because these are State House appointees. Why this is a problem is this. Number one, and maybe you're hearing this for the first time. All throughout the protest, Gen Zs were threatening to occupy State House. Okay? So on one side, the thinking here is, I want to invite them to State House. So that some, and you'll see the likes of Moshwa now are saying, sisi tumeenda State House, na kwenda State House sina maandamano, kwenda State House ni kwenda na plan, na kwenda na amani. So number one, the president is opening the doors for State House, for the Gen Zs, for some Gen Zs to feel now we've gone to State House. So that occupying a State House doesn't become a big thing because some people have gone. But at the same time, you are lowering the dignity of the institution of State House. And so people will feel, I will say it, let me tell you, I want you to imagine people saying we want to occupy State House. It's making it now look like now it's occupying State House is real. And some security, a very good person here who worked at serious UN peacekeeping missions and had worked at the Kenyan military is telling me that, Kevin, we are making a mistake. We are telling these Gen Zs that, guys, we can go to State House. We should go to State House. It's a big blunder by lowering the dignity. Even these things of setting up a church there, I don't know, changing what, putting on a pavilion, you take people like almost 1 hour to go and dance in Statehouse, you know, they're dancing there, mimicking Raila. And like, come on, that's a Statehouse, man. That's not a quiver. That's not quiver lounge. You know, this is a place you normally receive ambassadors, diplomats. The second mistake is this. We are opening loopholes for infiltration of security protocols at Statehouse. Now people know which gate is normally used. By the way, there's only one gate. Our delegates what? Wanatumenga do gate moja. Which gates are normally used? And we're giving security very difficult time. You never know. Yes, these delegates, one thing that they're not allowed to take phones, to take videos, they cannot live stream those events. Hata ukiwa na simu, the internet wanaendanga off. That's why we want to get like live videos there. It's not easy. Even to live stream Statehouse, ni Statehouse in a live stream kwanza unachukua feed kutoka kwao. You can't go live there. You know, but wow, they can shoot the videos and send, but they normally send, even though sometimes they send late. So someone is saying we're opening it too. We've opened the door too regular for everyone until it can be a risk. And number 3, misuse of state positions and resources is what is causing job rejections. Mtu anaona akipewa hii kazi itakuwa tu ya siasa ya kwanza kukampenia rais. So anaona hiyo kazi, anaona hii kazi nikipewa ni ya kucampaign, so kesho ata expect mimi nianza kuanza kucampaign and they won't campaign, and through that I'm leaving that job. And that is why president is facing a lot of backlash on some of these jobs. So ladies and gentlemen, that is my take on why I think that this thing is not happening in the right manner. Thank you.